All right, Dr. Ben, we are live. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Expect Miracles podcast. For all other recorded episodes, you can tune into the Expect Miracles podcast on Spotify, iTunes. We have live streams on YouTube, Facebook. We are also on Instagram and TikTok at Dr. Kevin Pecca. So today we have one of my favorite recurring guests, Dr. Benjamin Benulis, and it's an honor to have him on the show today. Dr. Ben, how are you?
I'm doing excellent, man. It's an honor to be here. Stoked to be back. Really love what you do. Long time. I think I've been listening to the podcast from the beginning. So, just stoked to be here.
Yeah, and Dr. Ben, you have one of the best recovery stories from autoimmune disease I've ever heard, and you're helping people get their lives back too as well. It had such a profound impact on you. You're helping others heal from it now too, which is what it's all about. It's what the podcast is all about. So, Dr. Ben, if you would just be so kind and just grace us with your story. Where did it start, and all the great work you're doing now. So, Dr. Ben, where are you from originally?
Originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah.
Very nice. And were you always a healthy kid growing up? Were you always seeking the holistic routes of healthcare?
No, I think my mom was like a little bit more health conscious than most people, but not by much.
Mm-hmm.
She kept me from eating she didn't keep soda in the house or anything like that. But, so, and then of course, after I left and went off to college, I rebelled and just ate horribly for, until it caught up with me, which was about, probably 10 years after that. So definitely was not very health conscious. I used to mock people who are health conscious. I thought it was ridiculous. I just thought, hey, I have good genes. I've been thin my whole life. I'm good,
Absolutely. And so, Dr. Ben, what started happening in your life that sent you on this path to healing others?
Well, in my late 20s, my body just started to give out. I started experiencing really bad digestive issues, started experiencing really bad fatigue and brain fog, and just didn't feel like myself. And it started slowly and kind of cascaded into getting really bad. I also had really bad eczema on my hands and started to develop this like chronic muscle pain, soreness thing going on. And it started off slowly in about 2010 when I was about 27 years old and 28, something like that. And it just over the course of like 6 months to a year, it cascaded to the point where it's like I could barely function at work. I was just like tired all the time. I was in pain all the time. I just felt horrible.
What did you think was going on? Because your symptoms kind of just came on very suddenly, and it sounds like your health was just decreasing pretty rapidly. You must have been pretty scared.
Well, in the beginning, I didn't think too much of it. And I was kind of like a frog in a slow boiling pot of water. Like I was just like, oh, I'm getting older. Like, oh, this is just normal. Like I like most guys our age, like I just tried to, be like, walk it off,
Push through, yeah.
Take a walk around the block. You'll be all right. Right.
Yeah.
And so I was in denial until it got so bad that I was like, I couldn't hang out with friends on the weekends. I remember, I think the big wake up call was my boss took me into his office and basically told me like, you used to be one of the top performing people on my team. Now I'm almost have to fire you. Like, what the hell's going on? What's different? And
what did you say to him when he sat you down like that? Were you shocked at all, or you knew you weren't performing?
I was in denial about it for sure.
Yeah.
Things had gotten bad so slowly that it was easy to just rationalize like, oh, all these other things are going on. And he was like, what's different? What's changed? What's going on? Like, is something wrong? Showing concern.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no, I'll just get my act together. Like, I'm just going through a rough patch, but like it resonated in my head. Like, wow, like something's up. Like, this is not.
It was a good little wake up call then.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And so what did you start seeking medical intervention after this at all?
Yeah. I just, went to the doctor and just kind of told them what was up. And they said, okay, well, you got skin issues. We got to send you to dermatologist. So you got digestive issues, we'll get you to the gastroenterologist, and this muscle pain thing, we'll send you to the rheumatologist. So one doctor's appointment became like 3 or 4. And then each one of those guys is like running his own tests and telling me his own story about what he thinks is going on, or why he mostly why he can't figure it out. And so it was just like I was started just getting the runaround of like going to a bunch of different doctors, and then you're on like this insurance like 7-minute visit kind of thing where they're just like, oh, okay, let's see, oh, yeah, I don't know, well, I'll send you this guy. And
was the autoimmune disease word popping up at all at this point?
No, it was, we can't figure it out. Your blood work looks normal. Just take some Advil, take some Pepto-Bismol, and you'll be all right.
So when all these brilliant people are telling you they don't know what's going on, what's going through your head?
I was frustrated. Like I got mad pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because I had put all my faith in the medical system. I grew up, had a lot of like medical doctors in my family, and so just assumed that I would go there with problems A, B, and C, and they would give me remedy X, Y, and Z. And it was not that at all. It was just kind of this runaround, this we can't figure it out, and we kind of don't really care kind of thing. And so I got frustrated pretty quick because like I felt like when in my line of work as an engineer, like if I had a problem, like I would fix it. And if I couldn't figure it out, or I couldn't like do the thing that someone needed me to do at work, like I would figure out who was the guy to get him to, or what needed to happen to make it happen. So I got mad.
Yeah. And so being frustrated, not getting any answers from the Western medical route, what did you do next?
I just started basically just researching, like just looking up stuff on the internet, trying to figure it out, reading articles, watching YouTube videos, just like went into kind of mad scientist mode of like,
That could be a scary thing too. Like when you're like Googling symptoms, like what's going on with me. Usually, like the worst case scenario pops up too. So that's also very frightening as well when you have all those symptoms going on.
Yeah. Oh man, and you and I both know we have patients who are like, well, I read on WebMD this, and so I think I have stage 4 cancer. And you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, hold the phone.
Yeah. Okay. Let's back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I basically just started just reading things and stumbled across information that basically said, oh, if you change your diet and eat better, like a lot of these problems go away. And I thought, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm not doing that though. Like
Yeah.
maybe last ditch effort if nothing else works. That's what I'll do. But just over time, like I wasn't getting any better. I was just continuing to get the runaround from these doctor's appointments, and it's kind of easy to keep going when your insurance pays for it. You're like, okay, I'll just keep going. But like at some point, like time becomes an issue because you're like, I'm going to all these appointments. No one's telling me anything. Like, okay, I have to pay a $20 copay each time. No biggie. But like, I'm expecting some freaking results here at some point,
Absolutely.
And so I remember I thought, oh, okay, I'll get a food allergy test. And that was kind of like my first foray into anything unconventional. And that thing just lit up like a Christmas tree.
Were you reading the results yourself, or did you have a doctor going over it with you?
I had a doctor actually. So I got the test results. I got the test, and then I was like, and I'm not usually the person who like follows up a lot. Like that's never been like my strong suit. I'm not really a go-getter in that way. But I was like so curious to know. I was calling the office like every day, like, you get the results in yet? I want to know. And they're like, okay, well, we'll get them in, like by. And so like, it's like this time, it's like late in the day on a Friday, I finally get a call back and they're like, hey, we know it's like the end of the week, but I know you're really jonesing to get your results. I have them. I can read them to you. And the guy reads them to me over the phone. And, it was like basically just this laundry list of things, like soy, gluten, dairy, eggs, yeast,
Everything.
milk, cheese, like case, like everything, right? I'm just like, oh my God, like how that's everything I'm eating. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? So I asked him, because this was the frame of mind I was in. I was like, well, what do you give me for that? What's the medicine? What's the cure? What's the prescription? And like, what drug do you give me for that? Was literally the question I asked him. And he said to me, oh, well, there's no drug that we give you. You just have to stop eating these foods.
Yeah.
And it was like record scratch, like, Like, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Like, you're supposed to give me drugs to fix the problem, not I don't change. Like, you fix things, right? And that was like a major, like, whoa, okay. Like, I'm glad he said that to me, but that pissed me off more.
Mhm.
But then I kind of realized, like, okay, maybe all these diet change people were right.
Mhm.
Maybe there's something to it. So that's how to set me down the path of like, okay, I gotta change here because it ain't getting any better with me just doing, hoping someone else is gonna fix me.
Mhm.
So it was rough, but it was empowering. It was what I needed to hear.
Mhm. So what do you do from there? Did you start making your own food and just going crazy, or is it a slow adaptation to cutting all that stuff out?
It was slow in the beginning. I was trying to do the minimum I could get away with. Like I would buy like the gluten-free, dairy-free pizza that tasted
Mhm.
like cardboard and was expensive and didn't make me feel that much better. And sort of after, a few months of doing that and like not hating every minute of it, I was like, well, maybe, and like, no real nutrition knowledge, not knowing what I'm doing. Like maybe if I eat, like make smoothies out of fruits and vegetables, that's got to be healthy, right? Fruits and vegetables. It told me in kindergarten. So that's what I did. I was just sort of took whatever, produce I had in the fridge that I normally just let rot in there and started
Mhm.
throwing it in the blender.
Mhm.
And it was like, okay, I don't really want to learn how to cook this. Like I had this like microwave mentality of like, I just want to microwave all my food. So a blender's like a microwave, right? Like you open up the door, you throw the food in, you close the door, you get a button, and bam, it's ready, right? So I was like, I can do that. Like I'm not learning how to make my own. Like that's the amount of work I will do for making food, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so it worked for that because it was just like this lazy approach of like, just throw it all in and then chug it down. And so I was doing that. I was feeling better, somewhat. I was seeing improvement. I wasn't, doing what I could, but it wasn't always tasting the greatest. So I thought, oh, maybe I should go on YouTube and like look up smoothie recipes.
Mhm.
And that was like life changing because that just sent me down a rabbit hole of all these people talking about raw foods and green juice and green smoothies and like how, if you just eat a ton of fruits and vegetables, you can heal from all these diseases. And at first I was like, this is crazy. These guys are talking about healing cancer on a raw food diet. I'm like, this is out of control. Like I'm just here for a few smoothie recipes. Okay. Um, but I was just kept watching because it was what I needed to hear and just kept implementing in my life, start to see my body really change. Like the chronic pain went away. The energy level went from like chronic fatigue to actually pretty good. And then it just kept climbing. Like I had more energy and I eventually knew what to do with. Skin really cleared up, digestion got a whole lot better. And I just got real excited about it. I got real passionate about it. And I
How,
became one
how
of those.
long did it take to hit? Because I know some people say, "Oh no, I tried that and it didn't really work." You got to also give it its due diligence and some time. How long do you think it really took for you to notice some really good improvement while changing your diet and like being disciplined about it?
I would say that I went through a stretch of doing it about 80%, like
Mhm.
80% raw foods, 20% still getting away with junk, but like doing the
Minimal.
best I could at the time. In about 6 weeks, I just saw like complete
Wow.
transformation, just like symptoms vanishing, feeling better than I felt my whole life. Like watched my body heal itself, observed that happening. And I know you've had a similar experience. You're like,
Observe it, feel it. Yeah.
yeah, like having like because you can read about these transformation stories on the internet, watch videos and whatever, but like when you experience it firsthand, you're like, whoa, this
Mhm.
stuff this is happening, this is working.
And
So
so,
that was real powerful for me.
Ben, are you an engineer still at this point?
Yep, still working as an engineer. Now I'm the guy in the break room, like eating the whole watermelon, and everyone's like, "What the heck's Ben doing?" Um,
So
yeah.
at what point were you thinking of making the switch, or why did you even want to make the switch over to healthcare? A lot of people get better and they say, "All right, perfect, thank you. I'm gonna keep living my life."
I hit 30, and that really like made me consider things. I just it was a big milestone, and I was just looking at where I was at and what I was doing, and I wasn't really fulfilled in the work that I was doing.
Mhm.
Like the money was good, but
You gave up a lot. I remember talking to you about this in chiropractic school. You had a very solid job. You had a house. You were doing very well financially, and you kind of just, you gave it all up and went to chiropractic school to start over. Like, that's not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of one of those things. It was like, if I didn't make the move then, it wasn't going to happen, right? Because it
Yeah.
was just, I would get more kind of boxed into like,
That's a
if I
good way
ended
to
up,
put it.
yeah, like especially if I had kids or something like that. And so, I had to, I had to cut the cord, and it was painful, like, I think I walked out of chiropractic school with my net worth being, the same as it was before, expressed as a negative number, right? So, um, yeah, it wasn't easy, but it was just like, man, it was like sometimes like I just got so passionate about health, and through my own journey, I met a lot of other people that were suffering and having issues, and I realized kind of how pervasive this is. And
Mhm.
just as a American society, there's so much chronic illness that just kind of gets normalized and swept under the rug, and like nobody was doing anything about it. And I just didn't want other people to go through what I went through, which is why you're doing this too, right?
Absolutely.
And it was sort of like, well, no one else is stepping up. And like, I had all these doctors who couldn't help me. And like, with like 5 brain cells and with what I know, I could do a better job than them. So it was sort of like, it was just the calling came and I had to answer. That's the rationale.
So, Dr. Ben, you have a new book coming out, which is very exciting. Create Health, Reverse Autoimmune Disease Without Drugs or Their Side Effects. Now, what is this book? And, it's gotta be a little bit more than just, eating more fruits and vegetables. This is what you pretty much specialize in now for a living. You help many, many people get their lives back, reversing autoimmune disease. How are you doing this? What is in this book that will really help people out? Because there are so many people that have that exact same story as you that are still going through this. So, what is this book going to do for them?
So this book's got my whole protocol, basically. It's like a primer to follow of like how to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And I explain a lot of like the science. I look at like autoimmune disease and kind of what the medical strategy is and why it really doesn't work, and why
Mm-hmm.
some of the other alternative strategies out there don't seem to cut the mustard.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, there's this paradigm of like, we got to fight the disease, right? Like, oh, I have a bunch of food allergies. What do you give me? It's like, no, dude, you got to stop eating the things that are killing you, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so when we adopt that mentality of like, instead of I'm going to fight this disease, with autoimmune disease, there's people saying I'm a autoimmune warrior, I'm a Hashimoto's warrior, rheumatoid arthritis warrior. It's like, stop fighting, okay? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not about fighting
But
the bad thing; it's about
some
creating more
some
of the good thing.
people incorporate that into their identity.
Yeah,
Like, and you'll even see it on social media, like they'll like Hashimoto's warrior is their actual name. And
yeah,
it's like, you're strong, but you don't want to attach that to the rest of your life. You want to beat it. You don't want that to be
yeah.
lingering for the rest of your life.
And these people are well intentioned, but yeah, it becomes your identity, and it's like
Mm.
you're always going to be that if you label yourself that. And so, yeah, it's mindset is really important. The words that you use, you know,
Dr. Ben, I have a
um,
question for you.
yeah.
How many people do you think are misdiagnosed with autoimmune disease? And what are your whole thoughts on the diagnosis process?
Sure. So the numbers, as I understand it, is about 1 in 7 people are affected.
One in
And that,
seven are affected, like
yeah,
truly affected.
yeah, currently, and that number was 1 in 10,000 30, 40 years ago. Okay,
Hmm.
things have really hockey sticked.
Yeah.
But I think half of those 1 in 7, so 1 in 14 are diagnosed, 1 in 14 are undiagnosed. So there's a lot of people walking around with like, I never got a diagnosis. No one ever
Hmm.
figured it out, right?
Hmm.
I got told, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Just this is just a passing thing. It's okay. No diagnosis. And so yeah, there's a lot of people who are walking around suffering and don't have an answer for
Hmm.
sure.
And so, so you have the protocol in your book of how to reverse autoimmune disease. And, with somebody that's got so much stuff going on, where do you recommend people start?
I just recommend just including. I think green smoothies are the best way. Start including that in your diet. Whatever the heck else you're eating, start including green smoothies for breakfast, for lunch, and just include, and you'll crowd out the bad stuff. But just focus on getting those fruits and greens in. because those are the most, most health creating, supportive foods to eat for sure.
Very nice. And so do you recommend people also, is the book enough, or do you recommend like coaching sessions with you as well to help get through it?
I mean, I think if you're serious about making a change, some people can do it on their own, but some people need support. So I definitely offer that. You can reach out to me if that's something that you think you need. I found that for transformation, it really does help to have like accountability and support and motivation and all that. Like I was backed up against the wall. Like I did it on my own. I don't want anybody to have to go through that. So it's nice to be able to support people for sure.
Mm-hmm. And is it a time frame protocol? Like, is it just, or like how much time, like what's the time frame you think you should, like people should give it?
I mean, it kind of depends on the severity of the condition. I would say for most people, you're looking at like, if you follow it to a T, you're looking at 2 to 3 months to heal. If it's really progressed and been going on for, like, I have a lady who's like, she's, had MS for like 20 plus years. She's on a walker. It's going to take her some time, right? That's probably, we'll see how long that takes, but probably more than 3 months, probably more like 6.
Is there anything besides the fruits and vegetables in the diet that you recommend to speed up the healing process?
I mean, there's just habits that create health, like getting enough sleep, getting exercise, moving your body, meditating. You got to have your nervous system in check, getting adjusted, because, the nervous system controls the immune system, controls every part of the body. So if your body's under a lot of stress and you're not like taking good care of it and giving it enough sleep and enough rest and enough movement, it's going to be a longer timeline for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ben, just curious, how long's the book?
Let's see. I think it's about 150 pages. Yeah.
Very nice. And what was that process like creating the book?
Let's be honest.
Long time?
It was terrible. Yeah. I mean, I don't like writing. Like I can come on here at podcast, speak all day, tell jokes, be funny, have a good time. But sitting down and writing, oh man, not my thing. But
So
I had to help.
what was that process like? Did you get up like in the morning and do it, or at night, or?
Yeah,
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both, but there would be starts and stops. I could be on a streak for a while, and then I just kind of get annoyed with it and stop for a month or two. And it probably took me 2 years of like on and off. But if I'd really sit down and cranked it out, I probably could have done it in like 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And self-published, or did you go through somebody else?
I'm working with a publisher, yeah, who kind of helps with a lot of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Ben, you still doing stand-up comedy and hacky sacking?
Hacky sack, not so much. Stand-up comedy, yeah, I got a show in a few weeks, so yeah.
How's that going?
It's fun, coaching and adjusting in the office keeps me pretty busy. I don't have time to like hunt down and book shows, but when I get asked and get invited to be on I do it. And so I'm probably doing
I can tell you love it and you're good at it. It's cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So
yeah.
Maybe once a month, every other month, I'm getting a show comes along, and it's a lot of fun.
And it's healthcare oriented too, which is cool.
Oh yeah, I definitely do tell jokes about like I got jokes about a lot of subjects, but I've actually written a few good like chiropractic jokes in the past few months, and so I'm excited to tell those. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So Ben, when does the book come out and where can people get it?
So the book comes out May 24th, and you can get it on my website, createhealthbook.com. And of course, it's also on Amazon. So cool. either way, yeah.
And Ben, where is your chiropractic practice at also?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Scottsdale, Arizona. So in terms of everything you do as a healthcare professional, chiropractor, and how does it work? Are you almost like a health coach when it comes to reversing autoimmune disease? Like, do you do Zoom calls with like people out of state, or like how does it work when people contact you about helping reverse the autoimmune stuff?
Yeah, you pretty much got it right. Basically function as a health coach, do most everything over phone and Zoom, have like, online courses that explain things, but yeah, it's basically all done online. I think the last time I had someone come in my office to talk autoimmune was a few months ago, and I was like, we can do this over the phone.
Do you have like good success stories, like people in different states and everything?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I
very
got
cool.
a guy in Massachusetts who he he had ulcerative colitis, which is an autoimmune disease that like attacks your colon.
Mm-hmm.
And it had got, he'd had it for a long time, and kind of managed it with immune suppressant drugs and whatever. And one time they go in for a yearly scope, and they tell him like, look, it's bad. Like it's like drugs aren't going to help. We got to cut your colon out. Like
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Joey cut it out. And so that's when he was like, okay, I gotta do something, because this I'm not pooping in a bag the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so that's when he started searching, found me, put him on a program, 3 months, just followed it to a T. And it kind of worked out because he was a teacher and he had the summer off, and he just like really focused on his health. And they said, why don't we do the surgery before the summer, so that way you can recover, and then when you come back in September, like, you're good to go. He's like, can we push it out to September? And I
Yeah.
want to try this. And if it, I don't get any better, then okay. And he comes back in September. They do another scope. They bring him in. They're like, okay, we got to push this appointment. Something's wrong. There's a mix up at the lab. And because this is a totally normal colon, and, like, must be a mistake. We don't have time to fix it now, but come back in a week. We'll get it sorted out. He says, okay, like, you sure there's a mistake? Comes back in a week. They're like, you know what? There must not be a mistake, because this is the scope. So
Wow.
you are like in full remission. Like, what happened? And he's like,
Very
oh,
cool.
this guy, I was in California at the time. He's like, it's like that guy out in California, he put me on this diet, and I've been doing it, and I feel great. All my symptoms are gone. And they're like, well, just keep doing what you're doing, and that was kind of it. And
It's a beautiful thing.
yeah.
Beautiful thing. Dr. Ben, at the end of all my shows, I like to ask everybody, what is one piece of advice that has really resonated with you over the years that you would like to gift the audience? Could be absolutely anything.
I would say I like the BJ Palmer, early to bed, early to rise, work hard and advertise. I think that's
That's great.
yeah.
I love that. That was one of my favorite ones on the show so far. In almost 200 episodes, that was definitely top 3.
All right.
Dr. Ben, and also, I don't think we've covered this. Do you have your website where people can find you as well?
Yeah, it's drbenjaminbenulis.com is the website. It's also my name on most social media, although with everything that's been going down in the past couple of years, I'm heavily shadow banned, so it might be hard to find me, but if you dig, you'll find me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dr. Ben, thank you so much for coming on. Would love to have you back on the show anytime. Best of luck with the book. Let's show it one more time, that cover. And you said it's available on Amazon in a couple weeks?
Yep, it'll be on Amazon. Yep, and createhealthbook.com is my website for it. Either one of those. If you buy it on my website, I throw in some bonuses that are kind of cool, like a video course and stuff. Yeah.
Very well, very well. So everybody, if you are struggling with any type of autoimmune disease or just chronic issue, and you think it might be, you're doing a lot of other things, chiropractic, other natural stuff, and you haven't looked into the diet change yet, definitely check that out. Dr. Ben is your guy, and get the book and let us know how you like it. Ben, thank you so much for coming on, and would love to have you back on soon.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. It was great.